Good morning, good day, and good evening to you, wherever it is that you might find yourself at this beautiful moment in time. Welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Wanderer, the show where we unravel the beauty of adventure and creativity one story at a time. Today we're super fortunate to have Alex Ellsworth on the show with us. Alex is a composer, producer, and recording artist living right here in Los Angeles, California. He does composing for various projects such as VR, film, video games, and we definitely talk a lot about that in this episode. We have a very similar experience with our love of music and using that as a way to spread creativity and spread the message that we have inside, and we definitely dive into topics that get really deep, honestly, with around music and how it's been there to sustain everything, that how it keeps me going, how it keeps him going, and just the passion that really makes someone want to dive into music. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. All right, what's up, Alex? We are good to go, man.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me over.
Yeah, dude. This is awesome. I love it.
It's good. Yeah.
Dude, I haven't had a musician on the show yet.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Well, I'm glad I can help fill that.
Yeah, dude.
Space in.
Yeah, well, see, I'm a musician. Not a lot of people know that now because of the fact that I've been doing the social media stuff for so long and the video stuff. So it's I don't really get to do too much of the music anymore, which is sad. But now with this weekly video series, obviously I'm bringing that back and starting to do music again and everything like that.
Well, good on you, man. Totally encourage that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the way that I saw it, it was a lot easier for me to focus on building up a thing with my job where I could work from home and kind of build up an income better.
Yeah.
Than just clocking in and getting that hourly paycheck. Basically what I did is when I started there, they were only building websites and doing SEO. And then I created a social media department for the company. So we optimized Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube.
That's why you're so good at it. Okay.
Yeah. I've been doing it for about 3 years. Yeah. And I developed it for that company.
Wow.
And so it's kind of been, for lack of a better term, more like my guinea pig of learning the social media strings, and now that I've really perfected it, now I'm running their marketing campaign and I'm about to start doing weekly videos for them. So that's awesome. Really cool because the bad thing about creating something new is you kind of go under the radar for a while, so it's finally at that point where it's yes.
You've got this down. You know what you're doing.
That's good. Yeah, it's they listen, whenever I have suggestions and stuff, they actually genuinely take the time,
That's so cool. I mean, that must leave so much room for growth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a really good environment, actually. I'm really lucky to have found that. And it was random, too. It's just like we met. So I actually was tweeted about this today. I was tweeting, I doubt he'll even see it, but I tweeted at Gary Vee because I'm really curious what his take on this app is. Because nobody's really talked about it yet.
Yeah.
Shaper, right?
Yeah.
So Shaper is super interesting to me, dude. It takes the concept of Tinder, right? So the right, left swipe, super simple. You just make a quick judgment call based on their profiles, the way they look, whatever it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for models, just a really quick, hey, do they look good? Swipe right. Hey, do they not look good? Swipe left. Super quick. And the good thing is, you can connect and network with all these really cool people, all the people pretty much that have been on this podcast. I use a multitude of the apps. I use Shaper and I use Bumble Biz.
Oh, Bumble. Okay. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Section they have, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea, right? Because, Mary Alita and I have been together for 3 years now. We just had our 3-year anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So, I haven't really needed to use dating apps. And back whenever I was single, it was kind of cliche to use them.
Yeah.
It wasn't really if people knew that you met using a dating app, it was
it was kind of a negative connotation to it. It's weird how it's changed.
Yeah, and now it's oh, you met on Tinder? That's so cute. It's why is it different now? I
don't know.
I don't know, man. Maybe people just don't like going out of their houses, so they're oh, okay. It's cool.
Maybe partly that, and people have embraced technology a little more, for apps and, using apps to do different things. And they sort of associate it with that as opposed to, you're meeting someone. Even internet dating.
It's so much easier because
the alternative is you have to go on the Instagram Explore page. You have to stalk your hashtags. Yeah. You have to find people that are within a certain range of like what you can and cannot reach, because like everyone cares about the numbers that you have of followers, even though that doesn't matter because that can change overnight. Yeah. You know, you can have 1 million followers and then post one thing that people don't like and immediately drop down to like 100,000.
It's really true.
And lose everything. You know, but alternatively, you can be at 1,000, post one really good thing and pump up to 1 million overnight. You know, it's like, they call it the 10-year overnight success. You know, whenever you're being consistent and you're putting out content that's actually valuable every single day, it doesn't matter when it takes off, because when it takes off,
exactly. You've been putting in. No, it's just really true. It's like, you know, you're putting in that work. It may not seem like it's going anywhere, but then you get that one. You know, you get the thing that matches up with time, with all the different events happening, and then boom, it looks like it's overnight, but you really worked. I mean, let's say 99% of success is that way. The other 1% is maybe lucky.
Exactly, just like this podcast. You know, like the way that I'm doing it is I'm recording 13 episodes. At first, pre-recording them and having them ready to go. Yeah. So that way, I'm never stressing out about the creative process. If I need to go and travel for a month or 2 months to do a video project and I can't meet with anyone because there's a remote location, there's no people that live there or something. Yeah. Because that's totally something I want to do. Like, if I go and do that, like, how am I going to keep putting out weekly episodes? And the way that I look at it is I think that if you're going to I think that when someone follows you, it's kind of like a contract on your end that you're saying, I understand that you as an individual person value what I'm saying, and I need to continue giving you that value. Like you owe it to them, you know, because the way that I look at it, I'm a busy ass person. Like, I do a shit ton of things all day. And for me to like go on Instagram and look at your stuff and give you some comments and like it and stuff, that takes away time from my family and takes away time from my projects that I want to be working on. Like, I can't work on my stuff and like your comment and comment on your content at the same time. So if I'm liking and commenting on your stuff, I'm taking away time from my creative process to like be a part of your creative process. Yeah. You know, so it's like, I think I talked about this on the podcast last time, and it's like, it's really important that you understand that your audience is like a person, you know, when you realize they're you on the other end most of the time, like
that will change the way you put out content. And I think the way you're thinking about it's real. I mean, I can't say I've ever really evolved it that way. I mean, it's the same with SEO and computers and the internet. I think it's evolved. It started out as being more of this, you're sort of catering to Google, you're catering to the computer, but now it's to the user experience. Since computers have gotten smarter, we've got AI. Yeah. And I mean, I think Shaper is sort of embracing that as well. Like, we're humans wanting to connect, and like we have a specific intent, you know, and so they're trying to bring and connect people that otherwise wouldn't be connected, which I think is awesome, by the way.
Yeah. What I like about Shaper is that it's actually network focused. So Bumble Biz is cool. Like, it's really cool. I like it a lot. I've made some cool connections on there, but honestly, like, I feel weird using Bumble Biz because it was like originally a dating app.
I was just going to say though, it started off as a dating app and they have these other branches. But
so like when I read about it on a blog and I told Mary Alita about it, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like, I feel weird downloading a dating app. And then I like looked into it and I was like, I explained it to her. I was like, okay, so you can switch it to business mode. Right. Okay, that's cool. You know, okay, that's interesting actually. She's been using the friends mode and like swiping left and right.
Oh, cool.
Like, yeah, because it's like we're new to the area, you know, so it's like just nice to meet other people that are cool and like creative in the area. You
Absolutely.
know?
Why not make friends with other people?
Yeah, exactly. But what I really like about Shaper specifically, if you've never looked it up before, it's SHAPR. I'm pretty sure it's on at the Apple Store too, right?
Yeah, I'm relatively sure, because that's how I got it. So,
okay, cool. Yeah, I have an Android phone, so I didn't know if it was on the Apple Store or not. So yeah, it is on the Apple and Android Store. SHAPR, it's Shaper. It's really, really awesome, honestly. And they are not sponsoring this. They're not giving me anything for this. They don't know that I'm making this even, probably. But honestly, I really love that app. I found it a couple weeks ago, and I booked my entire first season before October 13th.
So you're new to it. Wow. I've actually been using it for a little over a year now.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I love it. I love it. And I learned how to optimize it too by looking at the people that were like trending on the page. You know, like if you look
Maybe I don't even know that. I just do the daily swipe thing.
Yeah, I mean, I do that too, but you can optimize your bio, actually. I'll show it whenever we get...
Okay, you have to show me.
Yeah, I can't show you now because my camera is my phone.
Oh, and I understand.
Yeah, but...
special feature of the segment or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll show you later. It's you could optimize your bio by joining groups and hashtags. In bio.
Yeah. I think I know.
And then you just strategically word it too, so that basically whenever people do the explore, you show up there too.
Okay, I don't know about the explore. I know about the hashtags.
It's a newer thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically like you like people that you think you would want to see on your daily swipe, or that you want to show up on their daily swipe.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you're putting yourself on their list as like a chance for them to swipe left or right, basically. So it's like if you want to make that connection, you can kind of more so reach out to them. I think is more so how it works. I think that's that's how I've been using it. I don't know if that's the intention.
I mean, either way, it seems like you got the AI thing going on. Like Shaper is going to match you with people that are sort of in that ballpark. Oh, you like these kind of people.
That's what it seems like. Yeah. From my experiences. Yeah, and like I said, I've scheduled over 13 episodes now before October 13th. I just started using it like a week ago, and it's currently September 15th. So that's literally less than a month. I've scheduled my entire 3 months of content. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Like, how did that even happen?
Social media guru, right? You're getting all the content. I mean, man, you must be so excited.
My mind is just being blown right now to think about it because it just kind of happened overnight. It's like I started using the app, started reaching out to people, and it was like, hey, I want to do this project. What's up? It's like the people that were interested, I just latched on and really fed off of the passion that they had for their project. And honestly, I'm very, very interested in your music. It's very interesting that you make stuff for film and for video games and virtual reality and all that kind of stuff. That's so cool to me because as a musician, I only ever make singing and playing a piano or guitar or whatever. I play a lot of instruments, but it's always more I don't know. It's more. I don't even want to say passion based, but I don't know what the word would be.
I mean,
it's not project based.
At the end of the day, no. I mean, music should be able to stand by itself, and this is what someone told me. If you're writing the film and stuff, and you're moving a picture, it should still if you take the picture away, you can completely You can completely dive into whatever it is you're listening to, and that itself should tell a story. And then you put the image.
And what is your SoundCloud? How can people find you on SoundCloud? Because I was looking you up, and I was super interested on your range because we were listening to it this morning too, and it was it went from being Lord of the Rings kind of style to classical to upbeat cool stuff, and then it sounded like Attack on Titan, and then it sounded like Pokemon, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. What? That's such a cool range of And
I think that's what writing for media really does, sort of challenge that range. And it's how can you still express yourself in all these different and that's still something I'm sort of grappling with, trying to put my voice in every single one of the pieces. And that was literally what my mentor was telling me the other day.
Yeah. I noticed you hadn't made any videos in a while. Are you planning on coming out with some content?
You check that out too.
Yeah, I saw your Pokemon thing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
It was funny. It was fun. It was just a little side. Let's try this. I don't know. That's just a thing that's on my to-do list, coming out with an EP hopefully at some point, just to sort of have another.
I recommend 13-week chunks.
13-week chunks, all right.
Honestly, it'll save you so much time because if you do it in 13-week chunks, then you never have to stress out because oh crap, I can't record a video this week. Let me pull from my 13 episodes.
Right, just have it ready to go.
And then your audience doesn't get that cheesy, petty, oh, hey guys, sorry, I forgot I couldn't make a video this week because I got this stuff going on, so you don't get anything. Bye.
It's true. No, it's interesting you bring that up too, because I think trying to manage your content, and I mean, like you said, I think releasing your thing, and this is the same with lots of shows, they'll choose strategic times to release it.
Exactly. That's the thing. I think of my media company and all of my platforms and distribution platforms, I think of it as a TV show. So like if you think of like if Michael B. Isbell Media is Showtime or Stars or HBO or whatever, you know, pick your whatever. I don't know. I don't really watch TV anymore, so I don't really know what the
busy man.
Yeah, but I watch Netflix. I watch plenty of shows. Okay, but I just don't watch. I don't know what channel.
Like gotcha. All right.
So like Michael B. Isbell Media is like one of those channels, right?
Yeah.
And then under that, there are episodes. There's like shows, you know, like if you go on Cartoon Network, then there's, you know, Courage the Cowardly Dog, or like I don't know. I can't remember honestly. Like I'm blanking out on all the shows that I used to watch.
Johnny Bravo or whatever.
Johnny Bravo or whatever. Like all of those are Cartoon Network, but they're different from one another.
Right.
So Tuesday is a show. It's got its theme. Thursday is a show. It's got its theme. Saturday is a show. It has its theme. Then I have my podcast on Wednesdays. It has its theme. Right? We're just sitting down and having that conversation. So content is going out every single day from Michael B. Isbell Media, from the channel. Right?
Yeah.
But I get to do whatever I want creatively. I can choose. Like, it's just whatever I feel like doing that day. It goes out, right? And I just get to share my creative passions and all the different parts of that kind of simultaneously. Like, and it's like, you know, awesome. And it keeps it fresh. You know, you're not just getting the same thing every single day or the same thing every single week. It's a little bit of a variety. You know, it's like more like a TV show. Like you're watching a channel and it's just the shows that
you get all these different aspects of Michael B. Isbell. Right?
Exactly. And see, my goal is to build a legacy because I really, really, really am passionate about just, I don't want to use the word digitalization, but I can't think of a better word than that. So the digitalization of me, of who I am, right? I don't mean that literally. I don't mean like uploading my consciousness or like creating an AI that can talk like me. I don't mean
we're not far from that, but
we're not, but that's not what I'm talking about particularly. What I like is that I have all of these things that I've created, which are representations on how I see things, you know, from in my head and everything, and with like just the way that I see things, because everyone looks at the world differently. Like we all have our different interpretations and different viewpoints. So, you know, like it's my great grandchildren will never know me in real life. They'll never get to meet me, more than likely. Unless they just create some crazy stuff and I just live forever, then, hey, what's up? I was wrong. I am glad to be wrong with that. If there's someone working on that, go for it, bro.
They can watch videos of you. Hopefully, if those have or listen to this podcast we're making right now.
That's what I'm saying. So, here's the thing. Right. They get to know me better than the people that see me on a daily basis. Like, that blows my mind, man. Like, I go to work with these people every single day, and my great-grandchildren, that if they watch my content, which I'm sure they will, because I'm trying to build a legacy that passes that on. You know, I want, I don't really have that with my family. Like, I don't really know much about what they did because nobody's really passed anything on. It's just like, sink or swim, good luck, you know? And so, like, I don't want to have that for my kids. Like, if I'm gonna have kids, it's gonna be a legacy. Like, I want them to know where they came from, and not in a pretentious way, but to know where they came from so that they know what they can give the world. Because ultimately, even if your goal is just your own success, like, you have to give something else to the world for you to get anything at all.
Oh, because that's so true.
We live in a world of digital transparency, and if you're greedy, which is very obvious really quick, in any capacity, like that could be wanting to just be famous just so people love you, and that's the only reason, which isn't a bad thing, like to have on the list. But if that's your sole focus, like, you know, it's
gotta come from somewhere that you can, I don't know, that people can really relate to.
Exactly.
Being able to relate to you, and you're human.
Well, you cannot create, like, so you at the end of the day, you can't care. Is what it comes down to. Like, you can't care what people think. You put out your message and your story as authentic as you can, and then you wipe your hands. You know, it doesn't matter. Right. It's out there. This is me. This is who I am.
You like it or you don't? Yeah, exactly.
You know? And that's how it is. Whenever you don't care, it's because you're actually like, you're real. You can actually be authentic. You can be like, fine, whatever, good luck. And whenever you actually believe it, you know, but whenever you're just pandering, those opinions change really quickly. And that's where it becomes transparent, because you start getting the resistance and you change your tune, and then you get resistance the other way and it changes again. Then you get resistance the other way.
Yeah, and then you're not consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in an age where everything is digital and everything is recorded and nothing gets deleted,
and everyone's keeping track of. Wait, you said this and you said that, and you don't even have to be that huge.
Change.
Yeah,
people do change. That's very true.
And then you've got followers.
But there's a difference between changing and being a natural progression of changing as a human being, and going back and forth on your opinions. Like, because I've definitely changed a lot, you know, like I've been making videos since 2008. And whenever I was a younger kid, I used to be super religious. And, you know, like now it's like, I don't know. I don't know exactly where I stand, you know, but at the end of the day, like I used to make videos where I literally was just like begging people to like believe in this stuff, you know. It's like, that's how hardcore I was like into it, because of the way that I was raised. And it's like things change, you know. It's like as you move on and like as you progress with your story, like the way that you share what you believe and the way that you share just the positivity in general, I think it changes, you know. It's like, and that's not a problem. That's not a bad thing for that to change, you know, for progression. But I think that there's a big difference between that and then someone, you know, like on social media, like on Twitter, that's like on Monday they put out a tweet that says they're supporting something, and then a lot of people hate on it, and then on Wednesday they say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, I actually don't support it, that's a bad thing. And then next Saturday they're at the rally supporting it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the type of thing you should.
And someone takes a picture of them and posts it online, and then it's like, oh no, I was just there to go against it. That's what I was there for. Yeah, no, I wasn't doing that. And then they go and they support it again, and it's like back and forth and back and forth. It's like just to get views, you know. It's like I don't understand.
Well, there are some people out there like that doing it, and I don't know, some do it, I don't know, too well, but you know. But I would say definitely, I think genuineness goes a long way compared to that. At the end of the day, I want to say that. But,
exactly.
You know,
So tell me about VR.
VR, virtual reality. It's just it's a very immersive experience. You know, more so than TV. You're not looking into something. You're actually you're in this completely new environment. And like
I love using it on my Samsung. It's awesome.
On your Samsung, you have.
It's so
nice.
Dope.
That's
put
good.
on the goggles, put your phone in there. It's like in another world.
You really are, and I mean that's just the start of it. I mean, there's so much growth for VR, and you know I think it's big businesses are start to adopt it, and it can go into jobs and stuff. But mainly what it's been sort of used for is more sort of interactive, like game sort of stuff. Where was I going? What is VR?
Well, I mean, like, what is it that you've been doing? Like, I know you do a lot of music stuff.
Right.
VR.
Yeah. So my involvement, is with VR. I'm currently working on a VR project. I should say, first of all.
In progress.
In progress. I mean, I tried it a couple times and stuff, but I met this guy also through Shaper. So there's another pitch for it. And he does motion capture and stuff, right? He's like a motion capture technician.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like there are people in these suits that will like act out, and then animation will go over it. Mm. So that's sort of the gist of what motion capture is, and you'll see it like lots of movies. You watch it, particularly the old, not super old movies, but you know movies like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, Spider-Man: Homecoming used it. Avengers use it, like a bunch of productions, and some rely more heavily on it. But VR particularly because, I mean, the technology to do live action VR, number one, is very difficult. But so anyway, that was a little sidestep from what I was really trying to say. He does motion capture stuff. He's telling me about it. He was like, and you know, we were talking, and I think he liked that I came from Singapore because he's from the Philippines.
And I want to hear about that too. I definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
That sounds interesting to me.
Definitely, yeah. Just growing up elsewhere and then coming here. And,
yeah, those are some of the places I want to travel to. So
yeah, highly recommend it. I'll give you a list of those places.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we bonded over that, and I think I sort of was like, so I don't know if you guys are looking for anything, but I'm really passionate in storytelling, writing music, or working on sound. And so he was like, okay, yeah, let me get back to you. Like, we actually might need some help. I was like, all right, dope. Just followed up a couple times. He eventually was like, all right, give me your email.
Yeah.
Met the sound team from there. It was good. Like, we really bonded. I really bonded the sound team. Love TK. Veronica's great too. The other creative producer on it. She's the one that sort of came up with the whole conceived of the idea of what is called the chimerical era. So I'll describe it a little more. It's
that sounds cool.
Yeah, the chimerical era. Yeah, I love the logo, so you got to look it up. It's
I'll put a picture up. Chimerical.
Yeah, the chimerical era, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in short, virtual reality experience. If room scale means anything to you, it's basically like a little box, and you're sort of put in this world, and we've done it a little differently from other typical reality experiences, which tend to be interactive, like I said earlier. But this one's more of a cinematic experience. So you're in there, and you can choose to look. So like 360, but you can also look above you. And you can see ships flying above you.
Cool.
Yeah, it's set in
really
steampunk.
Cool.
Yeah, no, the ships are awesome. It's set in steampunk. I feel like not a lot of content has been in steampunk, so there's another thing for it. Steampunk sort of think Treasure Planet.
I've been hearing that a lot recently, actually.
Steampunk?
Yeah, no, that word.
Coming back.
Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but I've heard that like 3 times from like a bunch of different people.
Maybe okay.
Yeah, she was talking about it, and then somebody from work too. There was like people talking about it. Like, it's buzzing, like steampunk. Like it's buzzing around right now. I've heard it a bunch.
Just got to find the right community to sort of push it out to. We're like a new production type company. TK is putting together along with Veronica, and like we're going to try and do more titles and. Probably in the virtual reality, but not just that. Obviously, we're pretty open to doing cinematic as well, doing film.
Yeah. Have you guys been adapting any of it for augmented reality? Because I know that's probably going to be a really big thing in 2020.
Yeah, I know. I know we're putting it to film. We're going to submit it to festivals for film and VR. But as far as AR, I don't think so.
We've got a while though. I've heard from what I've heard. This could be rumors, obviously, but from what I've read. It looks like 2020 is going to be the year that we get like really good augmented reality, because it looks like there might be a new Google Glass, or maybe even like Apple might be making some sort of their version of a Google Glass. You
won't even need your phone. You'll just go on the road.
Exactly, which is the point. Because there's a lot of people that are dying because they're looking down at their phones when they're driving, which is dumb. Like, don't do that. Google is even updating, I don't know if you watched their keynote where they like had the Google Duplex, the thing that can call people and like have conversations.
Oh, someone showed me, like it was, like it sounded so much like human. Nobody could tell.
Exactly. It's really cool.
Which one is human? Which one is
that keynote, they also they talked about Google Maps and how they're working on basically updating Google Maps when you're driving and you're getting directions. Yeah. So that instead of it being a map, it's augmented reality. You hold your phone up, so like you would put it on like a mount, in your car, and then it's your camera. It literally shows you the road in front of you. And you have, instead of seeing a map, you see like a little dude in front of your car, and you follow the dude. Like your little friend, like whatever you could choose. I think like
your avatar, whoever it is you're gonna follow.
Yeah, whatever whatever it is. Like maybe it's a dog or a cat or like I don't know.
Your little hustler.
Whatever. Yeah, yeah, Harley. We just put her in there. I don't know. But yeah, apparently you would just follow your friend or whatever, your thing, and then instead of you looking down at your phone being like, oh, what are my directions? Or even, oh, what are my directions? Now I can't see the road because I'm staring at this phone and everything else is blurry, right? You're looking through, you actually see the road in front of you when you're looking at the map. So like there's a lot of push towards that. And I think apps like that are going to work a lot better with something that is like wearable on your face, probably.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, as we
but it would have to be trendy, It's like, but look at Snapchat spectacles. they freaking blew up, man. They're on version 2 now, and they're like still blowing up and like selling them. And even with the Instagram update that pretty much that like took all the people away from Snapchat, they came out with the spectacles after that, and then like they still sold a bunch of those just because people love the concept of being able to record and like see my point of view. That's the thing that's in culture right now is vlogging and seeing life from my perspective. So someone has to make classes that can interact like a phone camera, you know, at the least a good camera, you know. But like I'm expecting by 2020 to, because also it would be punny because, you know, 2020 perfect vision. It makes sense. It makes sense. Like I would be very, if 2021 comes around and they did not do any of that, I'm going to be very disappointed at every marketing department at Apple, at Samsung.
Well, if not, then
Google.
maybe you can do something.
I don't know if I have the ability to do that. That's not really my forte. I don't know how that stuff works. Right. So it would probably take me longer than 2 years to figure it out. So I doubt that I can get it out by 2020. But, you know, I'm hoping, I'm praying, and I believe from what I've read that they're currently working on that stuff. If you want to confirm that, please put out a tweet or something. I mean, I know you want to make a big reveal, but somebody, come on, give us some rumors. Give us some solid rumors. I would appreciate it. Oh, man. So, scoring versus songwriting. That is super interesting. Like, what would you say is the difference between, like, is there a difference between scoring and songwriting? Because I kind of think there is, actually.
I mean, I think there is a subtle one. I wouldn't say it's huge, but I think it's worth noting, you know, when you're watching a movie, you know, I think, you know, music should be able to stand by itself first and foremost. So, you know, when you've got music put up to an image, you know, so let me back up. Usually, like, let's say you've got a film composer and he's given the film. Oftentimes what he'll do is he'll be writing his music in accordance to the film. And oftentimes, like, they'll try to cut the movie so that it's sort of in rhythm, but a lot of the time there will be funky cuts, particularly in action cues. You know, you'll see where the music just switches all of a sudden. You know? And you know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
It's like you get into it, you're like, oh yeah, look at this. Oh, man.
Exactly. And so it's gonna, you know, there's lots of funky time signatures and that will be moving around. And so scoring oftentimes will be a little bit more like, you got an image and it will tell the story of whatever that image is. So there's that. And then you've got songwriting, and this is, you know, licensing comes in, and some movies and some TV shows you can think of will use more of a song, you know, like they'll put in songs and it'll work and they'll cut them up. And that would, you know, they're still using songwriting to write those songs because they're probably not writing it to those images. So you've got sort of those two styles of writing.
From my perspective, I think it would just be very different to go into it with a specific focus of writing it for a story, right? Like, because as a songwriter myself, when I write music, that is me creating a story, you know, like, so it's like instead of like it's like almost like commentary versus like, you know, creating. I don't even know. That's not even the right way to say it.
I mean, I think both definitely have. I mean, I think in the end you can say they are actually almost the same. Both are telling the story. It's just maybe the way in which it's doing it. You've got visual, got visual images to accompany. And
do you think that you shape? So I think a better way of asking that, actually, I think I just figured out how to ask that.
Yeah, no worries.
Would you say that you shape more the story with the music than the visuals shape? Like, do you think that what you do has more of an impact?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And
that would answer more of the question.
I really like the way you phrased that, actually. And so I think you'll find both, actually. I'll say at the end of the day, because you know, I'm working with a collaborator. They've worked on this idea. They've worked on it for 10 years. You know, like the VR thing I was talking about. They have this idea. You know, they want steampunk. They want you really want to be able to get in the world of these characters. You want to feel like you're put back in time, but it feels futuristic at the same time. You know, and you know there is a sort of sound palette that has been developed for it, but you know, and you know, so you'll sort of you'll look at what they're given. You'll write some stuff, but you know, there's often time where they'll listen to your thing and, you know, they'll start adjusting things here and there, especially if you can get in early on the project if you're writing stuff. that can often inform like, oh, it'd be really cool if we had this sort of action sequence here to do whatever it is you're doing here, because I have my idea of how things might be, and then they have theirs, and then they sort of converge at some point.
Do you think that comes from your like energy and your personality and how you put forth the energy, or do you think that you've just gotten lucky and been able to work with people that are more collaborative? Because in my experience, people are very controlling of their creative projects. You know, when you work with them and it's their project, it's, you know, this is what I want, this is how it's got to be, this is your deadline. Like, those are the, like, I've had a lot of that. And obviously I do a lot of client work, so it's like, that's more so my experience from it. So yeah, like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think definitely both. It's really dependent on the person you work with, but even then, like, you know, I was working with a guy, and like the project came out really good. Maybe we won't name names here, but you know, it was like it's very particular about certain songs, and we were starting to move towards, you know, what he'd given me in the temp. And we were like, man, it's starting to sound similar. And I think it just got to a point where he just, you know, he distanced himself from the project a little bit, and came back to it, and was like, you know, it actually is really good. Like, it gives it its own sort of, you know, character. You know, like we were talking about character earlier before the podcast, character, and sort of incorporating that into writing, like really having your own voice. Like, you know, you're still writing for, let's say, movie X. It's about this, it's about that, but really just trying to push the boundaries and really just get the audience to really go deeper and deeper into the world. You know, VR is so immersive, like music should definitely try and help them get situated even more into that. And, you know, especially with spatialization and stuff, that can really challenge. And that's, you know, that's something I'm still experimenting with, obviously.
Do you do the ambience? Because that's what I was asking, actually. Is
the ambience. I help a little bit with the sound teams. That was initially what I was brought in as. You know, they realized I could write music to stuff, started asking for demos, and that's how I got more involved on the music side. But I do also will help a little bit with the sound effects. You know, we gather sound effects and we decide, like, where in the space, you know, we have a game engine we use that will help determine like where sounds will come from. So, you know, that's got that game element to it. Interesting. Even though it is more of a cinematic experience. So that's where it's like kind of interesting. Like VR is supposed to be like, that's why it's known for you playing games. I mean, there's some like cinematic-ish stuff that happens in between, but for the most part, people are interested with like, wait, can I like choose to go here? That was that was some of our criticism during, we had a showing at an immersive, one of the, it was called VR LA, if you're interested. And one of the festivals anyway that showcases different VR things. You know, and that was like one of the things that people were saying, like, you know, VR is immersive and stuff. And so I think, it's a lot of it is still sort of, I don't know, there isn't really a way to do it. VR, I mean, we're all figuring out how to do it. We have a hover bike chase scene. Like, how do you do that? I mean, the bikes are moving so fast. The camera angles are changing. Like, I mean, I think, like, the people that have been working on my team, really great, have done a great job of it. But, those are things we're still tackling and trying to make better. And, you know, there isn't a way to do it. Like, you can't go on YouTube and type, like, how do I do a fast chase sequence on VR? Like you can with film. Okay, you do these angles, you know, do these cut angles, make sure you stay, and, you know.
Sounds like you just figured out what your new content should be about. If there's no videos out there.
There's no video, I know. Well, I mean, I'm more involved on the music side, but even there it can be something because... I don't know. It's interesting. I like being in sort of this unknown world and figuring out how to do things. And
well, see, here's the interesting thing. There's a very interesting, to use the word again because I can't think of another word.
It's okay.
Statistic that 90 to 95% of people that learn 100% of your process will take no action on what they've learned. So they'll listen to everything that you have to say. They'll learn everything about what you do. They'll never actually take the action to do it themselves.
Wow.
But if they ever want to take action, instead of them doing it themselves, you come first in mind. Right? So the best way that I can describe first in mind, I asked this to my last guest, what's your favorite kind of shoes?
Nike, I don't know yet. Nike.
Boom. Yeah, first in mind. So you didn't think of a store to go to. You didn't think of how you were going to buy them. You thought of the brand. First in mind. So Nike has won. their marketing tactics with you, because that's the first shoe that comes to mind. So when you get shoes, you go to them, right? So you have to be like that for your audience, for the people that you're trying to reach. You create value and you show them everything that you have. So when they need you, you're the first thing that they come to. They're like, oh, I know exactly who to go to, because I've been watching this dude and he knows exactly how to do this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know that because I've been watching his videos and he does a great job. So let's go.
Right.
And then there you go. They reach out to you, and then instead of you spending your time, I mean, obviously you always have to network and reach out and do your own and put out your own energy as well. But it becomes a lot more manageable when you have that equal reciprocation of people reaching out to you and trying to schedule meetings with you because they've been watching your content and they love what you do and they want to work with you.
Right.
Even to just be on, you can even use the video series to collaborate with those people. You know, you can record and be like, okay, cool, this is a platform for you to show your process, because we're going to record videos of us working together, and then that advertises what you're doing on this platform as well.
Right. Well, you're reaching more audiences, and you're connecting.
Everything is connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you're not worried about, like, this is kind of harsh, but like, there's no other way to say it. Is when you're not worried about like the paycheck at the end of it.
Yeah.
That is really when you'll ultimately find the best success. You know, because it's like on the day-to-day grind, you're not going to see those returns, because you should be putting everything that you make back into your creative art. So even if you are seeing returns, you shouldn't really be seeing returns, because you should be putting that back in so that you can do better, right?
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, if you're just cashing out every time, that's you telling yourself that you don't believe in what you're doing, essentially.
Right, you don't believe that what you're doing is really an investment, and that
you don't think it's going to last.
You're going for this really big goal here.
Mm-hmm. And, So you really have to think about it and take a second to think, why am I doing this? And so, like, that's the thing I'm going to ask you, like, why do you do this? Because music is hard, you know?
Yeah.
When I moved here, I earned some of my rent money by going to Huntington Beach Pier and playing on the pier. It was hard. It made me kind of hate the process of playing music, because it took it away from being a passion and something that I love and something that I like is a deep part of me, and that helped me to survive as a child. Like, it was an important thing to me, you know? And then it made it something that was just a job, and I had to go and do it just to earn money so that I could live and like make this thing work. And it was just like the grind, and it became the grind instead of the fun thing that I did on the side.
Right.
You know? And it's just like, why do you continue to push forward with your music when you could just say, I'm good, I'm just gonna go be a businessman, and you know, that's it, that's all I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. Which to the people that are doing that, there's no harm in that either. Like, you grind and you do your thing, man. We need those people. We need you building up those businesses and doing what you're passionate about. But that's what the point is ultimately you're passionate about music, right?
Yes, no, you're absolutely right, and you bring up a very good point. It absolutely is easier to get just a regular job and go home and do nothing.
Yeah.
I am one of the subset of people that is trying to pursue something creative. I do have a day job, you know, to help pay the bills.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then after that, I've got my other job.
And that keeps it passion-based.
Exactly. It gets me out of bed. That's why I do it. You know, I get out of bed and I'm really excited. You know, like, all right, you know, I'm going to go to work and come back. I'm going to do some, you know, I'm going to do some music stuff. It's not even work to me. You know, some people might think of it. And there are some days, you know, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I might hit a plateau or whatever, and I feel a little down. But, you know, just got to constantly remind myself that, you know, why I'm doing it. Exactly. You're asking. I spoke with someone the other day. It's absolutely easier to just, you know, do the day job, come home, just chillax.
And there's no harm in
collect your paycheck. I mean,
if that's what you want, if what you want out of life is just a simple, you know, like, build your family and just come home and have your life, and that's fine. Personally, for me, as a 22-year-old that experienced a childhood of, you know, parents being gone and going to work and never really seeing them, and like when you do see them, they're mad because they've been working all the time and fighting because they don't see each other ever, and like resentful because of like income differences and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that life. So like what I've done for the last 3 years, the reason I built the social media department is because I wanted to work from home. I wanted to travel and I wanted to live a life that was on my terms. Because ultimately I had a choice. When I developed this strategy, I did it on my own. And I either could have reached out and given it to them, which like I did, and I used their company to kind of promote that business, or I could have tried to start a business from scratch doing the social media stuff myself.
Yeah.
Which I could have done, but ultimately I don't want to deal with the logistics of it. That's ultimately what it comes down to. I would rather take a smaller portion of that creation, right, instead of just getting all the money for it. And I would rather immediately reach a bigger audience and let it help more people. And also now it's getting to the point where I'm about to be working from home full time.
You've had all the training now.
Yeah.
Look, you're building your own brand.
Exactly. And eventually things will build up to the point where, like, because of the work that I put in originally, like, I'll be good, like I won't have to worry about it. Like, I'll be covered and I'll be able to fully pursue my passion, which is important. It's very, very, very important to me, because that allows me to never stress out that I'll not be meeting that bottom line, right? So like whenever I get to the point where like things are covered every single month because of the work that I put in, I'm chilling. Like I will 100% be stress-free. I hope to go way past that, but ultimately, like, my goals are not centered around financial success. My goals are centered around providing value to people and for leaving behind a legacy that actually helps people to do better. Because I had to deal with some shitty stuff. I had some bad stuff that I went through, and like other people don't need to do that. Like it's dumb to just constantly repeat the same mistakes generation after generation after generation just because you don't understand what happened before. Just because no one really wrote it down or decided to tell a story because they were ashamed of what they did. Like, the way that I approach things is I believe that you have to be proud of every part of you. You have to own it. You have to know that
it's so true.
You own the good things and the bad things. Like, mistakes are actually successes because they teach you what not to do, and they allow you to teach other generations on how to have an easier time reaching those goals.
Right, and your goal is to sort of show both the good and the ugly and be like, look, I'm here where I am because of both those things, not just one or the other. The pretty things that all
why do you think
really
it's so
shows
off.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have Shaper? Why do you think I can turn my cell phone into a DSLR setup? Why do you think I can buy these lights and turn my living room into a podcast studio? Like, that didn't exist a long time ago. Like, the concept of the things that we're able to do just because other people put in that work and then they put out their work and spread it out for free. Like, it doesn't cost me money to put this podcast on Anchor. And they distribute it to all the places that you can listen to it.
Yeah.
They go on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, like every single thing that you can listen to a podcast on, it shows up on. And they don't charge anything for that at all.
That's awesome.
Completely free. They could make a ton of money off of that. Like, a long time ago, you had to pay tons of money to get your shows out there, to get them published on those individual platforms. You had to pay each individual platform to do it.
Oh, man.
So it's like the fact that those people put in the work so that now we have the freedom to just put out all this content, as much content as we want, share our stories. It makes people like us, it makes it easy for us, because all we have to do is look and learn from someone else's experiences. Like, I don't have to deal with 40 years of BS and people telling me no and telling me I can't and telling me the reasons why things aren't going to work out, because I have this verification from all these other people that have gone before us to make all this content before us. I can look at them and say, okay, that's fine. You don't want to believe me, but work for him. So the definition of insanity is, like they say, doing things and expecting a different result. So if you're expecting that I'm going to get a different result from putting in this work, then I'm sorry to say it, but you're insane. Like, it will eventually happen to some capacity, because my ultimate goal is to build a legacy.
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter. Like, I could be dead and I could still reach that goal, because like I could go, no one watches any of my content, knock on wood, I don't want that to happen. But my whole life, you know, just like all the greatest people back in history, no one, like, there were so many people that no one gave a crap about what they said when they were alive. And then they died, and like 50 years later, they verified everything they said, and they were like, dude, that guy was a genius. He knew it before all of us. We should have listened to him. Why did we do that? Why did we just tell him, like, why did we give him hate? We should have listened to that guy. We would have been like 50 years ahead. What are we doing? And that we still do that, you know?
We do. Yeah. It's kind of interesting, like, on that note, like, what content gets listened to and what doesn't. I mean, I think part of making content, like you say, is just like really trying to reach an audience, or trying to reach the audience that really, I think, I don't know, accepts you, or really just gets you, and, you know, just spreading that message to as many people. I mean, like you say, and, you know,
I mean, like, I have all these records. I doubt none of these people were thinking of me when they made those records.
Yeah.
But they have changed my life with the music that they made, and they're not even on this planet anymore. So, like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. It's legacy. You're putting out creative works that show who you are, and you're connecting across the barrier of time. Because I have some of these records that they weren't really big. Like, they were small time, unknown bands whenever it was their time.
Yeah.
You know, and then now they actually, like, has a good following. Like, a lot of people listen to their music and stuff. So it's like, and they're not even alive to see the people listening to their music. But does that make it any less of a legacy? I don't think so. I think that it's just as much of a success.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I live my life knowing, and that's a bit presumptuous to say, but I will use that word. I live my life knowing that that legacy will be preserved. At some point, it will be heard. Mm-hmm. That's just what I believe, because I only put out positivity, and I only put out things that will help other people.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's inevitable that it will eventually be heard to help people, because people are always looking for something to help themselves get to the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure of it. And, you know, you get better and better at your craft, get better at giving the message. And, you know, I'm sure, like, by the end of this, you'll have so much content. Someone will run into it somewhere.
Exactly. And you also collaborate with people, too. So it's like,
exactly.
Everyone that follows everyone that follows you might want to listen to this podcast because of you, because they get to listen to an hour and a half of you talking because they follow you, right?
Yeah.
But then they also heard my podcast, and they might think, oh, this sounds interesting. I wonder what other interviews this guy's done. Listen to the next one, and then boom, that's how collaboration works.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's like, you share your audiences with each other, and same thing. Everyone that follows me hears you. We talk about your music. I definitely recommend you check them out on SoundCloud, because no, it's more like for video games and like TV and movies and stuff before listening to it. Because that did throw me off at first, because I was expecting like normal music. And I was like,
music, yeah.
Okay, I understand. I get you.
There's some of it, but it's really varied if you really look through it.
Yeah.
If you want. Exactly.
But it is very, very good. It's really good, especially like if you're making videos or movies or film, you know, like if you're a YouTube creator and you're trying to make film, like, I don't know, you know, how open you are to collaboration, but I would definitely say, like, reach out to them, because, you know.
I just spoke to one the other day, actually.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to say her name just on this podcast. I don't know if she'd want me to. But anyway, yeah, it was just like, we met at Schaefer. I just, like, messaged her. I didn't realize it unless I started looking at videos, and she really has, like, a pretty big following. But she was responsive and stuff. She liked. Yeah. I think she could see that I was, like, trying to hustle and stuff.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I have a collaboration with you and you're making music for my videos, you're getting a shout out. You're getting your brand represented in everything that I create that uses that music.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, my value is I don't have to pay for a subscription to get that music. And it's customized for my idea that I already have. Exactly. Right? So it's a trade of value. It's like, when you work and collaborate with people that do the things that you want, instead of just paying for something, or like going out and getting the quick solution, which has its place. I'm not against it. I love Epidemic. I use that all the time for a lot of my music, because it's really helpful. You can download the stems, and and you can edit it and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you might want to check it out. It's really interesting.
We'll have to.
Because you can get like the stems and the individual tracks, and then you can apply that to your other music.
Right, and you can choose like if you want it more underscored, if you want melody out, all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's for YouTube, and you link it up with your YouTube channel, and then it's copyright. It's all like everyone gets their credit, and you're able to use it without any
issues. Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Yeah, you might be able to put your music on there.
I was gonna say, that's just like another.
That might be an income stream. Yeah.
Why not? Let's see.
You should check it out. You should hit up Epidemic. Let me know. I'm curious.
I'll let you know how that goes. Yeah,
that's cool, dude. All right, so tell me about how you grew up. You said where was it? You said you were born in?
Yeah. So I was born in Hong Kong, all the way in Asia, and then grew up in Singapore in Southeast Asia, right around borders Malaysia, sort of around Indonesia, if you have an idea where that is. It's this little tiny island. I think most people don't even know it exists. I mean, some people do, but it's just like really small island. It's small. To give you an idea, it's smaller than the state than Rhode Island.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's a small state.
Like 30 miles from one end to the other end. So it's really small, super densely populated. Like 5 million people live there. It's in a sense it's like LA. It's densely populated city. Crazy traffic. It's like it got dubbed as the most expensive country to live in. We've got the most expensive cars, but public transportation is really good. The government takes care of you, or one could argue. Let's just say our levels of like people being unemployed is really low. I can't remember what it is, but it's really low. And you're like, the government will help pay for your housing, but like I said, it's expensive. And so there are drawbacks and stuff. It's really convenient. It's really safe. You can be out at 4 a.m., completely drunk. I almost swore there. Completely drunk. Like you're going all, you're walking all over the place and no one would even try to rob you. I mean, like, it's just one of those places, and I'll give you a story. I know I'm elaborating where I grew up, but I love Singapore.
I'm like super interested because I really want to go to Singapore. It sounds like a dope place to go to.
You should. It's like one of those places, if you're going to like lots of different places around that area, definitely stop by it. And the airport is cool. If you have extra hours, stay there.
Okay.
There's a lot to do. There's a hotel there. You can get a massage. There's.
All right, so go to Singapore. Stay at the hotel for the first day. That's what
or the airport. The airport's really nice. If you just have time to kind of look around and, even the food there's really awesome. Food in Singapore in general is just off the charts. It's so good.
What is
and it's so cheap. Just go to a hawker center. Go to a hawker center and you can get like a full meal for $3. Full meal. You'll be full. Like,
that sounds amazing.
Like, I would get a full chicken rice meal. Like,
oh my gosh, I'm such a foodie, man. Like,
you have to go there.
I love food.
The shopping there is pretty cool too, but it's it's like I said, it's it's like you're buying brands and it's a little more expensive, all that stuff. But anyway, the story I meant to get to, was my uncle. So like we were going biking, and he realized like a few hours into biking that he didn't have his wallet. And so it turned out his wallet was like in the middle of a bike pathway, like midday. We went back to, it's like 3 or 4 hours later, granted, right?
Yeah.
And, looked in his wallet. No, like all his money was there, all his cars were there, nothing was taken.
Really?
And it was just in the middle of a bike path. It was untouched. No one touched it.
That's amazing.
That's like Singapore's culture. Like it's safe. It's no one will. That's how it is.
I can't imagine that.
In LA, like 2 minutes, someone would have been all over that wallet. Yeah.
Like the wallet itself probably would have been gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the whole thing. They'd have been like, oh, sweet, I have a new wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sweet, it has money in it. Like, they would have figured the money out secondly, because everyone cares about free stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, it's different in that way. It's super safe, super convenient, transportation's great. But it comes with its pitfalls and everything. But I love growing up there. I think growing up there was great.
Yeah. Did you move here directly from Singapore?
Yeah, so I came there to here to study college, and then
where at?
Occidental College.
Okay,
so,
nice.
Around the corner, compared to Singapore at least. And then stayed here because obviously I wanted to sort of pursue music after enough encouragement from my mentors and my friends and everything.
Yeah.
And just sort of embracing the attitude of you can do anything if you put enough hard work and really grind and yourself to take risks and be a little, I mean, you might be a little uncomfortable. Like, I mean, coming out here, I mean, I'm not saying I was uncomfortable, but, you know, like,
oh, no,
I'm grabbing his hand and I'm like, all right, let's see how this goes. You know, like,
absolutely.
Just embracing, you know, sort of life as it is and taking risks. I wouldn't normally take, because Singapore was super safe. I would say I've lived a relatively sheltered life, you know, and
I understand that.
Coming out here was great. Coming out here was great. And sort of, I mean, you also talked about, like, how you came from a different place 8 years ago, and you're all religious, but it's just embracing life for what it is and really understanding different viewpoints, and I'm all about that. So I can go on and on about that. But.
Dude, I love it, man. I love perspectives. Just like understanding that there are other people that are just like you, but they've just experienced different things. That blows my mind. Like that's you if that happened to you, basically.
And that's really LA, though. I mean, LA is a lot of it is about that.
Yeah.
It's different people from different places.
And everyone has their individual story, too. And although there are congruencies and some people have similar backgrounds, like, everyone has an individual story. And you know what's interesting, too, kind of going back to, like, building a brand and stuff that I think we were talking about that, like, before podcasts, you know, when you're building a brand for yourself, all you have to do is just put that honest content of what you're doing out there, because the crazy thing that people don't realize is China has a lot more population than we do, okay?
Yeah.
And the stuff that we do is crazy to them. Like, they're like, what? That's how you live your life? That's weird. I want to watch videos of that. That's funny. You know? So they watch that stuff. Like, they're interested in how we live our lives, because that's not how they, just like we watch videos to see how they live their lives.
Yeah.
They don't know what our culture is. They want to see that too. Right? So it's like, even though it might be boring to you, it might feel like every old day to you, when you're putting out consistent content that's around your life and around the value that you're giving the world, the other parts of the world recognize that. You know?
So your brand should stay true to who you are, and other people will, you know, if you're really, really true to that, and, you know, you find ways to sort of present it in a way.
Yeah, well, the internet's not dictated to America.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't know. Every time I say this from dealing with, like, clients, as in, you know, from the agency perspective too.
Yeah.
Like, everyone goes from the perspective of just thinking about their local area, or thinking about America, or thinking about, like, North America. Like, the world is a lot bigger than our continent. There's a huge planet out there, and the internet goes to all of them at the same time, everywhere. Although it is location-based for some applications, you know, you can turn on, like, the location-based to find people that are around you and find people in certain locations. People search for pictures of locations all around the world, all the time. And those people can be locals, or they can be people that traveled there and took the pictures for the locals, right? So, like, the best way to build your brand is to be consistent and authentic with what your life is, because there is an audience out there, even if not immediate, there is an audience out there that's going to find interest in the life that you live in that area. They're going to want to see that documentation. Like, imagine if old ancient Egypt, if every one of them had a social media page, and, like, you know how much we could learn just from, like, seeing how they interacted on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of data we have now.
Yeah. Now we just have, like, a basic, like, I think we know.
It's just too much now,
It's like we have this writing on the wall that's like, I think that's the story. We're going to go with this as the history. That's, okay, we agree on that. Yeah, that's what happened. And then they find something new, and they're like, oh, crap, we were wrong.
Yeah, we got to rewrite.
What actually happened? Ah, damn it. You know, it's like, and that just keeps happening and keeps happening, because ultimately none of us were there.
Yeah.
And you can't know something if you weren't there, or it wasn't documented, right? And they didn't have the ability to physically, like, visually document that. So I think that's something that people take for granted now. You know, it's like you can pull out your cell phone and get at least a 1080p, which is HD, right? Like, once upon a time, there was such a thing as 720, and it was standard definition, and that was life. Everything was fuzzy. America's Home Videos, you know, the
quality. I remember. I mean, the quality of it, it's definitely.
Yeah, there was a time whenever that was everything.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my God, 720, that's blowing my mind. And they came out with 1080. It's like, HD? it's so sharp. It's like looking through a window. And now we have 4K, and it's like, oh my God, that looks better than real life.
It really does.
Why would I go outside?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's crazy how technology progresses.
And then you got virtual reality where you just can't even tell the difference between whether it's real life or not. And, you know.
Well, you know what Elon Musk says? Once they finally get it to where you cannot tell a distinguishable difference between this life and virtual reality life, then there is a 1 in like 100 billion chance that this is actually reality.
Wow.
Simulation theory.
Yeah.
You know, that blows my mind, like the whole idea of being in a simulation, but at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters. Because, like,
why is that?
What can you do about it? You know?
Yeah. I mean, even if we are in a simulation, like, this is one hell of a simulation. Yeah.
I mean, like, ultimately, if it's a simulation, then you should be happy because that means you're probably going to get what you want, or things are going to go a certain way. And as long as you can find the pattern and follow that pattern, boom, there you go.
Right.
And if it's not,
look at it.
then you have a plan and you're following a plan, which will probably get you results.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen people get results before, so why should that stop you?
Exactly. Yeah, it works both ways. But, no, I don't really think it matters because, like, if you woke up and you were in a different world or you woke up and this was all, like, a video game or something like that, I mean, it's kind of like dreams, it doesn't make that experience any less real from my perspective. Because I have lived that experience. Right? So, like, when I go to sleep and I have a dream and I'm, like, in another world, living another life or whatever, doing some weird stuff, and I personally remember my dreams most of the time. So, like when I wake up the next morning, I have this really, like, weird experience of, like, holy crap, I feel like I just lived, like, 3 months in another world, and it's been a day, and I just woke up. That's weird, It's like, because the dream feels so real.
Yeah.
But to my perspective, if I am separate, like if there is me and there's my body, like if we actually do have consciousness as a separate thing from our being, then to my perspective, that did happen because
you were there.
That was what I saw. That's what I experienced. I closed my eyes and then that's what I saw. Yeah. And then I opened my eyes and then this is what I saw. It's like, it's like, obviously there is a difference between like, dreamscape and reality, like within the scope of what we live. But like when you're talking about a simulation, like ultimately, who cares? Because you would just wake up and it would just be like, oh, okay, cool, it was a game, and then you would go on and you would continue your story and you would experience other things.
Exactly, yeah. And someone I was talking to was, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people that have these sort of positive mindsets and make life really enjoyable to live. I don't know. One of the people told me like the way they really think of life, or like look up to as well. They were like they think of it as a game. It's like
that's exactly
little things
right.
that are happening.
That's
like
exactly
you're taking risks. All right, that didn't work. All right, what's the next thing? And you sort of better yourself. Life is a lot more, I don't know, casual and I
don't know if you see the two TVs, but I'm a very huge, big video game nerd.
Right on.
Like, we sit here and we dual screen video games side by side. We'll play like Overwatch, and now I've already beaten Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
100%.
My virtual reality guy I work with, TK. He's also he was like I don't know if he beat it, but he was like playing it for days.
I beat it 100% progression, and I just got it on Sunday.
Wow. So, okay. Yeah.
I'm a nerd. Man.
He was nerding out about that game. Like, big time.
It was amazing.
You had
like
conversation.
The cinematics, it was.
He loved the whole thing about it too.
Dude, it was so like it. I geeked out so hard. It was amazing. Very, very well done. Very good job. Very good job.
It's like a recommendation now. So.
But honestly, playing video games is probably the reason why I am more successful with how I approach projects. Because I got really good at MMOs at like 12 or 13.
I was into MMOs when I was like 9 to like 12.
I was like a guild leader and everything. Like and I was a kid and nobody knew. They all
ran into each other in one of those MMOs.
Maybe. People thought I was like this older, like experienced person because I had a website for my guild.
No way.
I had a full.
Dude, you were so ahead of your time.
I had a contract where they had to sign and say like I agree that I'm not going to be an asshole. Basically. So
which games did you play? Sorry, I just gotta ask you.
Yeah, no, I had a multi-game guild, so it was the guild function where we were in every single game, it was the same name. because I was a huge nerd.
Gotcha.
Like I would like get in the beta and like get my guild in there, and like you know, like I had this huge team of people that I would play with, and that was like they were really good friends too. Like I got really close to a lot of those people. Like we were really. I haven't talked to any of them since then.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened is when my parents got divorced, I had to move, and then I didn't have a computer for a while, and then I didn't have internet for a while. And like by the time I got everything, I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like it's been like 6, 7, 8 months.
And computer time.
Everybody that I knew was gone. Like,
yeah, they're all doing their own thing
anymore. Like it just moved on. So like
legacy.
I hope they're all doing well. But like that was a really important, really great time in my life. You know, and going back to your question, you asked what games. I'm sorry, I elaborate a little.
No, that's it's so fascinating.
I haven't really talked about that to anybody.
It's so fast because I was really into it at one point too. Yeah. So maybe that's where you and I sort of understood each other in that.
So I played almost every game that you can think of that's like a huge MMO. I played Perfect World. I played almost all of their games, actually. I played
Prison Tale. That was one I was really into.
I saw it, but I don't think I ever played it yet. Okay. I played Lord of the Rings Online. Okay. I played EVE Online, DC Universe Online. Okay. Obviously World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
RuneScape.
Yeah.
Battlon, Adventure Quest.
Battlon, I know that one too. Okay. Yeah, you played Adventure Quest too.
Bro,
that's
I played everything.
Dude,
I played
that's
everything,
hilarious.
dude.
Wow.
I played Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Okay.
SWTOR.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
Yeah, man. I got really big into Lord of the Rings Online because I'm a huge Tolkien fan. And, like, it was nice, man. It was really nice. That's where I met the majority of my friends at. And then I expanded out and started playing World of Warcraft on, like, a private server because I was a poor little 13-year-old. Yeah. And so I, like, played on one of those, like, servers where I had to hack the game and, like, change all the stuff in the settings and stuff. Which, looking back, it's like I'm impressed that I was able to do that and at the same time keep all my security up and not.
You're good with computers. That's what it is. Yeah. Your SEO, social media. Yeah, you're really good. But to be fair,
I've only ever existed in a world where computers exist. Because I was born in '95, and I think '92 is when they became like commercialized. So I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. I might be. We can fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that it was '92. But regardless. My whole life, computers have been a thing. Yeah. And although we were kind of poor when I was a kid, so we didn't really have computer access and everything originally, like that was in the first couple of years when I wouldn't have been using a computer anyway. Yeah. So like, honestly, like, I don't know. I think my brain works different because of the way that I've always had a computer, honestly. And I don't think it's a bad thing because of the way that I've used it as a tool. I don't rely on my computer. I use it to make it more efficient because I used to make books, actually, dude. I was a super entrepreneur kid when I was a kid. Well, entrepreneur kid when I was a kid. I don't know why I said that.
No, you're good. You got an entrepreneur mindset. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
So I was super into Harry Potter, right? Mm-hmm. I read the first Harry Potter book in kindergarten. That's when I first started reading. I was an early reader thanks to my mom. She would read to me like really young. It was really, really cool in the first couple of years of my life. Like when it was just me and Paul, you know, it was really, that's one of my younger brothers.
Got it.
It was really good. It was a really good experience. And I read Harry Potter at kindergarten and I loved it. I loved the series because I really connected with that character for various reasons, but I really connected with that character. And, I loved those books, and I would make the spell books, like in the books, you know, the books that they reference
within the book. Yeah,
and I would make them out of paper. Like I would get like blank paper, and I would draw out. Right, and I would like draw these potion things, and I would like draw like the animals, and I made a Harry Potter like encyclopedia compendium, basically.
That's so funny, wow.
And for all of my friends, I made like 5 copies, and I physically wrote out all of them because I didn't have a computer. Wow. Right, so it's not that I don't know how to do it originally. Yeah. It's not that I don't know how to do it. It's that like, and I don't rely on it. It's that I use it to make what I already can do and already would be doing, and I exemplify that, and I exponentially put that out there on a greater scale. Basically,
that's the whole point.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, but as a tool, why not use it? But you know,
No, I used to. I remember when I lived in Georgia. It's totally terrible, and I apologize to musicians because I mean I was a little kid. I didn't know what I was doing, but basically. Gonna admit to some bad stuff for a minute. When I was a little kid, I used to burn CDs and like make those mixes and then go and knock on people's doors and sell them. It was great. It made me a lot of money, actually, whenever I was little.
Gotcha. Like, you were an entrepreneur. You always were.
Yeah. And then I would take that money, go buy bubble gum or like candy from Cece's Pizza.
Yeah.
And then I would go to school and I would sell the candy for $1 a pop, even though I paid 25 cents for the pop, right? And then, I made some fat money from that. And it actually they banned selling candy at school because of me.
Because of you.
Yeah.
I love that. But that's legacy right there.
But they don't know it was because of me. That's the fun.
I got you. Like, you got to have your name somewhere in there.
Yeah, nobody knew.
FBI or something, right?
Well, because when I was a kid, man, like, I was super, like, innocent, super, like, the good kid, you know? Like, I had a very different perspective, and I was very naive, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, you know? It's like, it was good at that time for me to be that way, you know? They got me into trouble, though, sometimes. Like, in first or second grade, there was a book fair, and it's the one and only time I've ever stolen anything in my life, but I had no idea that I was stealing. My friends, quote-unquote friends, told me that there was a buy one, get one, and the way that they explained it to me was you buy one of anything, and then you can take one of anything. So me being the smart MFer that I am, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to buy these 25-cent pencils, and I'm going to go grab this $30 stuffed animal, and that's going to be my buy one, get one. I
love it, yeah.
So, like, I picked out some stuff and, like, bought one, got one, you know? And, like, I didn't even think anything of it. They gave me a big bag, and I just put it in the bag. Because I was like, I bought my thing. All right, so what? Do I just go, okay, I'm just going to go get my thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. I put it in there. I went to my classroom, didn't think anything of it. Nothing, right? Yeah. And then it turns out it was like this whole big deal, and like my parents got called in, and like I was bawling my eyes out. I'm like, I didn't even know. They told me that this is how it works. I was like,
did you actually get in trouble for that, or did the parents that told you?
No, they were fine because they believed me. They were like, oh yeah, this is Michael, the kid that like.
He's a good kid,
the kid that has like the state record for like 500 AR points or something like this. Yeah. Like, that was me at that time. Wow. Like, I was the geeky, like nerdy kid, but in a good, like fun way. Like I had a lot of friends too, because I'm social, so it's like I'm outgoing. Well, sometimes I'm outgoing. Sometimes
got it. Like you choose when to.
Yeah, exactly. But that always worked.
You're smart. You're smart about it.
Well, I don't know. I might be introspective or whatever the word is.
What's the word? Introvert.
Introvert. Yeah, introspective is like thinking. Yeah, no, you're right.
They're related.
Yeah, related. Yeah. I think I might be an introvert because it is sometimes physically taxing for me, like really put out that energy and be around a lot more people, you know?
I mean, it's contagious. Energy is contagious, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But like after a while, like you do need that time to sort of, that time for yourself. I think everybody needs it, you know, like granted, but some people need a little more than others. Some people need a little more time. Yeah. And just that time for reflection and just, you know.
See, it's kind of weird because it's in the moment. It's not like, oh, dang it, I don't want to be here. This is driving me crazy. Sometimes it is, but like, I've gotten to the point where I can get out of that now. Like, basically, I only do things that I really passionately want to do. That's ultimately what I don't do anything that I'm not actually genuinely interested in.
That's really good.
That's an awesome
way to live.
I will never be sitting there being like, oh, where are all these people? I don't want to be here. Oh my God. Like it might take me a long time to like dedicate to doing something that includes being really social, but like once I make that decision and I dedicate it and I say yes, I'm going to do it. I'm a person that I stick to my word as best as I can. Like unless something bad happens, like recently, I had some calls scheduled and I had to like reschedule them, and I felt terrible about that. And that's not even that big of a deal. It was like, hey, I need to reschedule our pre-production call to get you on the show because Mary Alita had an accident on the stairs and had to like go to the hospital and everything. Yeah,
you mentioned that. Yeah. Okay.
And like that was really like worrisome, you know, because like we were like worried that she broke her leg, like what happened, you know, she had to get a boot and like all that stuff. And it's like obviously that's all I could think about. It's like I couldn't do any calls or anything like that to take care of her, and had to do everything that she normally would have helped me do.
I mean, I think you made the right decision for sure.
Yeah,
you did.
But like at the time though, like I get a lot of anxiety about canceling that stuff, like about saying like, hey, you dedicated this time and said that you were willing to take this time out, And then now I have to tell you, like, I can't honor that time. Like, I'm very big on, like, if I say I'm going to do this, then I'm going to
do it. Yeah.
And that's like me being here. I started saying in 7th grade that I was going to come to California and live here. And my entire family, all my friends, every teacher, they said, no, you're not going to do it. No, you're not going to do it. You can't do it. You're not going to be successful. You can't make it.
You got to use that as fuel to like.
I'm like, dude, look at me now. I'm 22 and I live out here and I'm doing
you're
great.
Awesome. Like, you got a place to live in. You're hosting people.
Yeah, it's like
podcast.
It's like I'm not stacked, but I'm comfortable. I've gotten to a level. I found my level of comfort where I can live happy, right? You know, it's like I'm good for now. You know, it's like eventually I will want other things. I'll want to have a house. You know, I want to have a family. I want to move on and like do things. But for right now, I've found my base level and what I'm comfortable living with, which I was comfortable when I had roommates. Ultimately, like whenever we had our roommates living here, I loved it. For me, it's hard for me to reach out to people and to be friendly because I am so passionate about my creative projects. Yeah. That like, I get so busy creating and making and reaching out and doing all this stuff that I forget that there's actual real people that care about me and want to hang out with me. And like,
I mean, just for the sake of like, let's just hang out.
Yeah. It's like, I forget that there's people that care about me and want to do that. And it's hard for me because I feel bad for saying this, but it doesn't even come as a registration in my mind. You know, it's like whenever I want to hang out, it's like, cool, let's collaborate, let's make something, let's do something, let's have something productive.
You're on your feet, You've got that game mindset.
It's like I'm down to hang out with you. It's
got that game mindset in your head from when you were a kid.
It's like I was telling my mom and my little brother, it's like I want you guys to come out and be on the podcast. You know, it's like I want you to come out here. I want to see you, but I also want to do something productive with that. I don't want to just have you come out here just visit and then you leave and that's it. Like when my brother came out here with his girlfriend, we took all these pictures and like I don't know if you've seen my Instagram feed, but like it's been blowing up recently just because of the pictures that I took with him. Got like 374 pictures from the couple of places that we went while he was here. Like it's just like when you're focused on creating. And that's what you're passionate about, and you follow your passions, you know.
Well, and you're integrating it into your life. I think that's really what I'm like. You know, I really admire myself just seeing about you. The little bits I've seen here and there, it seems like I don't know. It's all related. It's great that you're able to do that.
I appreciate that, but you know, honestly, I loved having roommates because it had potential for like a best friend right there. You know? Yeah. It's like, although there were their ups and downs, because you obviously, like, people have their cleaning habits, and people have their living habits, and people get into arguments, and people, you know, want to party at certain times and want to be sleeping at certain times, and, like, there are conflicts whenever 4 people live in one place. Oh, you know, 2 bedrooms.
There's a bigger chance of that happening. Absolutely.
Because in 2 situations, I've had multiple sets of roommates. That's a long story in and of itself with some douchebags that decided to cut out on the lease. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do, you know, I guess. Like, more power to them. I hope they're doing good where they're at. But, like, you know.
I mean, you're where you at now. It seems pretty.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, I'm okay. I didn't die because of it. So, whatever. You know, it's fine. Whatever. Yeah. But, I've gone through quite a few roommates. The first couple was amazing. It was awesome. That's who we moved in here originally with. And
okay.
And that was really good. You know, that was a really good experience. And then we had some friends move in. That didn't go too well.
Oh, so the roommates you're talking about have all been in this place, like in and out.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, so we started out with the 2, and then I had a friend move here from Oklahoma, and he had his uncle move out here with him. Okay. And then he cut out on the lease that he was on here with us and went back to Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Just like last minute, just like cut and run, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, more power to him, but, you know, I'm doing good now, so that's really what matters at the end of the day.
It worked out,
Yeah. And then the uncle stayed because we decided, like, we didn't want him to have to go be on, like, the streets just because his nephew decided to cut out on the leash. Because it was like, it's not really fair to him. Like, we had already accepted him to live here. Like, he had already kind of integrated. We started to like him. Like, he was a really good dude, you know? Yeah. And he was working through his stuff, and, like, there was a lot of respect for him, you know? He was really trying to, like, make things work and make things happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I had mad respect for that. And it got to the point though where we had to had another roommate move in, and that was because like it just made more financial sense to split it 4 ways. Just because like splitting it 3 ways, because there was 2 of us and 1 of him, it just started getting a little bit heavy on our end at that time financially. So it was like I kind of need some help here. So we got a 4th person. And that was really awesome. It made things work. Yeah, dude. Yeah. He's cool, man. I haven't talked to him much since he moved out, which is really sad. I kind of regret that. But it's like what I'm saying. Like when he was here, like I got to spend time with him all the time. Like we went to these these weed sessions all the time. You know, like where they have like the warehousing and like get like good discounts and stuff. He would like take me to all the events and stuff, and like he had some really cool genuine friends and stuff that we met, and he had some really good experiences, man. Like he's a really good dude, but like it's hard for me because when they were here, it was like just having that access, and it was like we were such good friends, and it's like now it's like we haven't even really talked since they've left because of the fact that I am the way that I am, and I'm so focused on all this stuff.
Well, time and place is such a big thing too. Yeah, like when you're in certain places,
it makes me feel bad though. You know, it's like honestly, I feel really bad about that. It's like I wish I was more social, but that's what makes me think that I'm more introverted because I generally don't. Like I am outgoing and energetic, and I have that. And like once I get here, like this isn't uncomfortable at all. Like once I'm there, it's fine. You know, once I make the decision that I'm going to do this, it's fine. But it's like that build up. You know, it's like,
I mean, to me, it just sounds like you live more in the moment almost.
Oh, I absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you're in a situation. You know, you're surrounded with certain people, and you make the best of it, and like you guys get along, great, this and that. You know, with good energies in the room, like you know, grows up even more. It blossoms.
Yeah,
you know?
It's kind of weird though, because it's like ultimately, like living in the moment though, it's weird, and I feel bad for saying this, but it's like I almost don't even miss people. You know, because it's like I'm so here right now and enjoying where I'm at with the people that I'm at right at that second. You know, it's like. You can't be with everyone always.
That's what I feel like. That I was having this conversation, but that's what I feel like technology sort of detracts. Like, if you're too into it, like you're sort of yearning those moments that you had before, as opposed to trying to make things that are really good now. And I mean, I don't know if I'm saying too much here or whatever, but I feel like successful people sort of do live in that moment. Like they make the best of whatever they have now, and you know they got these goals they're trying to achieve, and you know ultimately
like what you want, but ultimately I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. So I have to do every single thing that I can right now and make sure that when I wake up tomorrow, it's a little bit easier than when I woke up this morning.
That's so true.
Because it's going to be. When I wake up tomorrow morning, I'm going to be so happy because it'll be like, oh man, I just got 2 episodes recorded.
Exactly. And the closer you are to the goal, the easier it is because you see progress. I think that's really a big thing when you see progress and you see that upward slope. Yeah. You know? And, you know, there will be plateaus in your life and stuff, which I've talked about a little. But you know, seeing that growth really helps you want to grow more and be happier and have good energy and, you know.
And I've gotten better at recognizing that recently. Like, when you realize who you really are and you understand your tendencies, you know? Yeah. Like, now we do have other friends. Like, our downstairs neighbors actually have become really good friends of ours. Yeah, and that's a really fun thing. I'm trying to help her get, like, she's an artist. She does, like, graphic design stuff. Cool. So I'm trying to help her, like, get her stuff out there and, like, build an online brand because she's just kind of been doing it on her own.
You and your social media stuff, like,
it's like, that's so cool, like, all this stuff that she's doing, you know? It's really interesting. And then actually the couple that lived here, like our friends, the ones I was just talking about, they're talking about, they were before they moved, they were talking about making a YouTube channel. That would be cool. Like, I would love to, like, have them on the podcast, like, talk about their channel that they made and stuff. Like, that would be awesome. But it's like, I've learned that I'm living right here, right now. You know, and it's like, a lot of people hate on that, and a lot of people feel upset about that. But ultimately, like, I can either spend this time right now feeling negative emotions that are going to make it so that I can't do what I want to be doing in the first place. Right? So then I'm just sitting here landlocked because I have anxiety and depression. And if I let that in at all, then it takes over everything. right? So like if you let that in, like it's all a domino effect, you know? It's like you think you're just like, oh, it's okay this one time to just indulge in this feeling. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not saying to run away from the feelings, but I'm saying like it's almost like going back to like if you go to Chinese culture, it's like yin and yang, dude. You know, it's like it is ultimately the good and the bad is always there at the same time. Yeah. And you can either choose to focus on the bad stuff because it's just being a little bit louder at that second, or you can focus on the good stuff and make it louder by putting more energy into it.
Right. Or you can twist the bad stuff into being good. Like,
exactly.
Look, there's this thing that happened and like I'm feeling a little like this, but why don't I use that to, you know,
exactly, like
help fuel the good, like, you know, like
like there's no scenario. There's no scenario where you can't turn a bad thing into a good thing. I can't think of a single one. Like like the worst thing that could ever happen to you is a story that you can share that you survived. And like you're still here.
Yeah.
Do you know what the chances of being alive are? It's like, I don't even know. It's like 1 in 100 billion trillion or something like that. It's like something crazy. I don't know. That might be.
You're alive now? Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, but like that you were born, that you even exist in this world.
Right, but you do. And now.
Like one more, like not to be vulgar, but one more extra trip to the bathroom from your dad when he was 18 and you wouldn't have existed. If you catch my meaning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all these like little itty bitty things and variants can just throw off your existence. Yeah.
That one little tiny moment, that's what makes you.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that just like that one tiny moment is what creates you. That one tiny moment is all you ever have. Because I mean, ultimately, like we don't even know, like if there is an afterlife, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be there. And you're going to be in that moment and make your decisions in that moment.
Yeah.
But in this moment, you're here and you're right now. Like, what are you doing right now to make sure that when you wake up tomorrow, things are going to be better, you know?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Yeah. I think, I like the in the moment living. And just because it sounded like you were talking about it, I was like, man, that's exactly like what I've been feeling lately. And I've been talking to people about it, like just, I don't know, like there's something about it that I really like. And, you know, you're giving your all to whatever you're doing at that moment. It's like your friend is there. It's not, I mean, you can talk on social media, great, but it's not the same as being in person. So when you're in person, you're really there. You're really attentive. You're not Snapchatting your friend. I mean, it's okay to do it here and there, right? There's a balance, but like you're not like constantly like texting while you're with that other friend.
Exactly. And I do that. I put down my phone and stuff and I set aside my time.
Yep.
Like I have an intense calendar, you know, like I book everything and I book time to set my phone down and like be present with the people around me.
Yeah, that's really good. I really like that. I think more people should be like that, but that's you know, that's more of a side conversation.
Yeah, and that's not saying that everyone has to do that. I'm just saying for me, because of the way that I immediately get drawn into creative focus, and if I check my phone and I have a shit ton of comments that are, you know, all positive and I need to respond to because all of those people took time out of their day to comment on something I created.
Yeah.
So I need to respond.
Yeah.
If I see that, I'm going to feel that obligation morally and I'm not going to be able to focus on doing anything else. I'm going to be sitting here with my family thinking about what I'm going to say later.
Yeah.
So I have, for me, you know, I'm not saying everyone's like this, but for me, I have to set it down.
Yeah.
And I have to say, okay, put the phone away for a minute. I've scheduled the content. I put it out there. I'll get to the comments whenever I've scheduled time for me to go in and respond to all the comments.
Right. That's a really good way to do it too. Because then you're.
That's one thing I wish Instagram would freaking update. Like, there's no way to sort between likes and comments.
Sort between likes. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, if anyone is
these likes. Yeah.
Yeah. No. If anyone is listening from Instagram, please make a filter. Because when you go to the like section, it's just, you have the list and it's like, it's just like, comment is in the thing, you know, and then you have like, this post is doing well, promote it. It's doing like 95% better than others or whatever. Yeah. And you have like all of those little things. It's just a list of information. Yeah. I would love it if like, even if it was just like likes and comments.
Yeah.
Because then I can switch to comments and if it shows me what's read and unread, like my messages, then I can actually respond to every comment.
This comment is unread. Oh, well, let's go to that and respond to that. Next, go to the other.
Do you know how hard it is to miss a comment on Instagram? because it gives you the notification once, and if you
it's probably really easy to miss it.
then like you just never see that comment and you never get to respond to it. And that person feels neglected and gypped, like you're just, you know, putting out values, spouting all of this nonsense, and then ignoring them when they try to reach out.
I don't even know if that's almost on purpose too, just so that they're like, oh yeah, make your next content thing. And because it's not that hard. I mean, if you think about it, it's not that difficult.
It'd be exactly like the messages.
Yeah.
But instead of, that's it. It would be exactly
like the messages, but you just have a little tab for likes, comments.
And when you respond, it goes away.
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah. Or when you read it, like you can, when you open it, you read it, and you can choose to like archive it or whatever. You know, it's like whatever to make it sorted. Like that would be a huge thing for everyone, because like, how are you going to respond to them? You know, same thing with Facebook. Like I don't use Facebook because when I open the notification center, it's all of them. I don't want to see everything. I want to see the stuff that's relevant to what I need. I want to check my comments and respond. I don't need to see that people liked it. I know that people liked it. Okay. I don't care what that number is. I'm not interested. I know some people are, but if you're interested with the number of likes, you can go to the post.
The post itself. Oh, great. There's your number.
Yeah, there's your number.
It's not like you're going to say,
go to the analytics.
Thanks so-and-so for liking it on the comment either.
Exactly.
You know?
Go to the analytics. That's better. You'll actually see the demographics and everything surrounding it anyways.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't make sense to not be able to sort that out and see the comments, like, that you haven't even responded to or anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they do that. I guess it just maybe makes the notification list look longer, I guess. Like, oh, you got 15, but then you see, like...
That's one thing Snapchat does well, actually, because they market. You know, they have it's not so much anymore. It's kind of weird now because they have, like, everyone is in your list, and that's how you, like, check the stories. You know?
Yeah.
And it used to be, like, you had a messages box, and it was just, like, the people you interacted with or whatever.
Right.
But with that, it like has it goes to the top and it goes in bold, and you get like the little notification that shows you have a new message, a new interaction. You know? Yeah. And that's more of a messenger app, so that's kind of different, you know? But like, I don't think that'd be a hard concept to have on there, you know?
Wow.
Same thing for Twitter. You can't see the difference between likes and retweets.
I guess all that stuff. Yeah, I guess it's just something Facebook did. Everyone followed. But
actually, Twitter does better, actually, because they make one notification for all the likes instead of it being like, Michael liked this, Alex liked this, John liked this, Mary liked this.
Yeah.
It says Michael, John, Mary, blah blah, and
all 96
on one
others
thing,
but then the comments have different.
Exactly.
So it's not that bad.
Yeah. So even something like that would be better.
Right.
But like the fact that it's just like comment, comment, like. It's like, where are the comments at? You know, you got to scroll through. It's like, where are they at? Oh, crap, there's one. Oh, wait, no, that's just a response. Oh, he just liked my response to my comment, and it looks the exact same as when they make a comment. It's like, how am I supposed to tell the difference between all this stuff? They want us to engage, and they want us to reach back out and connect with the audience. But it's like, really the only way to do that is to be pretentious. Go to your page and change it from column view to like the single post view, where you just scroll and you see your posts.
Oh, and you can see all the
and then you just do view more and just see all the comments. But then you have to go through every post you've ever done.
Yeah, and then the bigger, like the bigger you get, the bigger you get. Like you just can't.
Like I post 2 times a day. I can't do that. Like, you know how fast my content fills up, dude? Like,
I bet it.
That's so much. Fast. Like in 6 months, it's 365 posts just on those base content alone. Like that's too many posts to go and check through, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So you moved here from Portland. I want to know.
Oh, I moved from
or not Portland. Freaking. Dang it! Why is Portland in my mind? Where did that come from?
I did move from somewhere. I'm from Singapore. And then
Singapore.
LA, but
I do not know where Portland came in my mind. Actually, I do know. I talked to somebody on the phone recently. Actually, yesterday, my meeting last night, and they were talking about wanting to go to Portland and move to Portland.
Okay.
So I think it just sparked in there for some reason.
It's all good. It's all good.
So you moved here from Singapore. You came to LA. I'm really curious, what are some of the cultural differences? Like day to day, like your life, like how is it actually the same and how is it different? Because I feel like a lot of people feel like their reality is what reality is like everywhere. When we live on a really big planet with tons of different cultures and beliefs, and people have their own ways of doing things and raising people, and like Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you think you've experienced that things are different from what you've seen?
Like, people-wise, almost, you'd say?
Yeah, just like the culture in general, you know? It's like you said, like, it's safe. Like, I would, in my lifetime, I would never be able to go out at 4 a.m., like you said.
Yeah, never. It's just different. People-wise, I mean, it's quite different from here. Actually, quite the opposite, almost. People tend to be a little... Maybe the best way to say it is, you know, people in LA tend to be like, hey, how's it going? And, you know, very, I mean, I don't want to put this the wrong way, but they tend to be a little more surface level.
Yeah.
In Singapore, people are a little colder, like, you you can be friendly and everything, but, they take a little longer to warm up. And, once they do, though, I feel like, they feel closer to you and, you're able to build a bond. I don't know. Yeah. It's that would be the best way I can describe it, at least just in a nutshell. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, most of the people I interacted with, I did interact with locals. I skipped this part, but I did 2 years of the Army, so
okay.
I did interact a little with the locals and stuff. Like, a couple of my best friends are from the Army, but
Thank you for your service, first and foremost.
What's that?
I said thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
Foremost,
No problem. Not in the U.S., but that's okay, right?
Still, hey, fighting for what your country believes in, that's a big deal, I think, because that's something that I couldn't do. So that's what I mean, like, mad respect.
You're right, for sure.
I couldn't do that.
I should start off by saying it is mandatory there.
Oh, really?
It's
like Israel, like where they have.
Yeah. Difference is they say it's mandatory for residents. So I'm actually a U.S. citizen, but with a Singapore residency. Served 2 years in the Army. I'm still a resident there, but I'm not there. But I'm here.
How does that work? Is it just your parents? And like
yeah, it's that. We moved there, and my parents sort of had a decision to make between, like, we can either put them on, like, a student pass or a PR. At the time, I don't think they really knew about the Army contingent thing. I mean, they did. Well, no. It's in small letters, right? Right.
What I meant, though, you said you were a U.S. citizen in the thing. Like, do you mean like natural, like birth? Like, that's just because, like, you're one of your parents or something? Or
no, U.S. citizen is because my dad, he got all his kids the U.S. passport. Like, that's what you're getting. You're getting the U.S. passport. It's,
gotcha.
It holds its value, in certain aspects, and I'm glad he did, because I'm able to be here.
That's awesome,
do what I'm really trying to set out to do here.
So you don't have, like, any issues, like, worrying about, like, any of the migration changes or anything like that? You're just that's awesome.
None of the visa stuff. I have a bunch of friends I've had to worry about. I had a friend recently move. I was really sad. Good friend of mine.
That's why I asked. I've had some friends that were from Canada, and they had some issues with their visa.
I mean, she got sponsored. She was just unlucky. It's a lottery. Like, you either get it or you don't. She's going to try the next year with the same company. She works remotely for them. Managed to have a very similar deal, just without the health benefits. But, she's working out Japan now.
It's crazy. Like, it blows my mind that in 2018 it's still so complicated to move from one country to the other.
It's crazy. It's like the country. I don't know. It's like this special membership. You can't just get it right away. It's like. I don't know. I mean, I kind of understand it, because you don't want, like, people are very particular about wanting their culture to be preserved. So, like, if you just accept everyone, then everything just kind of, like, blends together, and there isn't really anything. Everything's just the same. Yeah.
So there is that where I can understand that, but, like, we had this conversation with a guy, like, it will have been last week if you're listening to this on the series, but the realtor that I was speaking with, we were talking about, like, making your area better doesn't mean that you have to execute your culture. Like, that's an important thing to remember. It's like, whenever, like, opening up the doors and allowing people to just, like, be free, and, like, if they want to live in your country and support your country, like, you should let them, And if people want to leave your country and come live in this country, let them. Like, because ultimately people will settle where they settle, and they'll go, like, they're going to do whatever they want to get where they really want to go in the first place.
Yeah, and we've seen that time and time again.
Yeah. So I just think it makes more sense to just, like, honestly, I think it makes more sense to have more open borders, like a more open border kind of a thing. And I can understand, I 100% understand wanting to keep your culture, wanting to keep your land, wanting to keep everything intact. But as long as you don't sell your house, you're not going to lose your land. So there you go. Don't worry about that. And as long as you continue to put things out there creatively and you continue to contribute to your society, then you're not going to kill your culture because you're keeping it alive.
Yeah, you're keeping it relevant.
Like, you have to understand that, like, that's your decision. If your culture dies, it's because you watched it die. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. It becomes irrelevant slowly. You know, so, like, you have to, like, literally, like a poor, like, animal that gets hit in the middle of the night by a car or something. Like, it's a slow death, you know? It doesn't happen immediately. Like, you can very much so save it by just literally what we're doing right now, talking about, like, culture, talking about, like, your story about where you came from.
Well, and that works the other way around too. Like, if you find stuff from their culture that you like, you know, you can start adopting those things, and you can try and find a happy middle ground. And I don't know, I think communication and you know, I don't know, trying to understand one another is really where most of the world problem lies.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone just thinks that they're, like, from my perspective and what I've experienced, like, through talking to people, it seems like everyone kind of has a mindset of there's me and then there's everyone else.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, like, all of those people are you, but different things happen to them. So, like, if you would have been born to those parents and they would have taught you those things and you would have gone and done those experiences, you would probably be the same person. Because ultimately, at the end of the day...
It's a weird concept, though, isn't it? Just to think, like, if you were in that other person's shoes, you'd probably be doing the same thing, like, or a very small variant of it.
Yeah, because who we are is just this big combination of our experiences and the moments that we put in, you know? And that can even be in your dreams, like I said. Like, your dreams can be, like, I've lived lifetimes from the perspective of the dream, you know, like, in my dream, I'm thinking that's, like, years and years and years go by, you know, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh, crap, it's only been a night.
Really vivid
dreams.
That's
cool. Oh,
I mean, I can maybe... I had one pretty recent, like, vivid dream, but, like, besides that, like, I feel like it's been months.
I think it's because my mind never shuts up, you know, like...
And that's good for you. I don't know. For some reason, when I sleep, it's just... I think maybe I don't remember it, unless, like, I'm a deep sleeper, unless I, like, kind of wake up mid, like, you know, like, and everything.
Honestly, I use medical marijuana so that I don't dream most of the time.
Really? So you, like, try and prevent it?
Yeah, because it can get bad. Like, I get nightmares really easily, just because, like, my brain never stops. It's always going. And when I try to sleep, literally, like, my fiance can attest to this, because, like, when I try to sleep, literally, my body kind of, like, shakes a little bit, like, convulses a little bit, just because my muscles are so tense.
Yeah.
Like, from tensing up right before I fall asleep, and just that, like, you know, really tense. And then whenever I fall asleep, they, like, you know, they shake and they loosen out, you know. And she's told me about that before. Like, I don't know, it's weird, because it's like my brain is just always trying to keep in control and, like, keep, like, turning and keep turning and keep turning. And then whenever I'm asleep, it does the same thing, just in a different place, like a different world. You know, usually it's like I'll get halfway into the dream and then I'll realize, oh shit, I'm in a dream, I think. Like, and then it's like really weird, you know, but then I can't wake up until it's over. So it's like,
so you're aware of your, okay, yeah, I feel like there's a condition for that almost.
Yeah, I don't know, probably, but
like, you're aware of your sleep. I mean, I think there's been, like, one time I feel like I might have had that, but, like, honestly, not the majority of when I sleep. Like, I think, honestly, that might be one of the reasons why things come so easy to me, though. Just because, like, it sounds pretentious to say that, but it's almost like I go to sleep and I practice things. Like if I'm thinking about something, I might see that play out in my dream, you know, like, see different versions of that play out in my dream. And I wake up and I'm like, it's kind of like the Doctor Strange thing, you know, where he, like, goes and he sees, like, all the different outcomes, and then he, like, comes back and he has, like, the one that works. Right. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've kind of thought through, like, all of these different things. And ultimately, you can't trust just that, because that's just my perspective. That's not taking into account what other people have experienced, what they believe, because there's no way for me to calculate that. It's a variable, right? Right. So, like, except for the variables, I have all of these different paths of things that I think are going to happen based on previous interactions that I've had with these people. And it's like when I have dreams and I see all these different paths and stuff, like, you wake up and you just pick the one that you think will work the best, you know? I don't know if I've ever had that. I mean, consolidation does legitimately happen when you're sleeping with your brain. You know, all your thoughts and stuff get organized. But As far as like new pathways and stuff, I don't know. It's definitely out there. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm not doubting it exists.
That's just me. Yeah.
And if it really does, and maybe that's why.
It freaks me out, bro. I don't like it. That's why I honestly try to smoke weed every night, because I don't like it. Because I would prefer to have a little bit of peace and quiet, and
like actual legitimate, like
and then I wake up the next day and I can actually keep going and like keep on moving forward. You know? But it's like, also I think it kind of comes down to the fact that like I don't stop until I pass out. So like I might be awake until like 3 or 4 a.m. passed out, wake up at 6 a.m. and go to work with my agency. You know?
Oh, you wake up early for work, huh?
Yeah. And it's like, it's not always that bad, but that can happen if I'm like super focused on something. Just because if I don't feel tired, I'm not going to lay there in bed and stare at a blank ceiling knowing that I'm not going to fall asleep because my brain is still going. Wow. I'm going to keep working on stuff until I can't stay awake anymore, and then I'm going to go pass out.
I never have a problem with sleep, so I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's one thing.
It's probably a condition, but it's honestly a really helpful condition.
It's good. It sounds like a good one to have. Honestly, I know a guy who like he can function off of. Actually, I would say 2 guys in the studio. One, a studio that I used to assist. I had more. I still assist a couple composers like on the side, like here and there, and integrate it with like having a full work week. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just. One of the guys is like this drum. He literally is a prodigy. He's so good. He's so good. Anyway, Benji Fricker. You can look him up. Anyway, he's such an intense guy. I brought up his name. He's probably going to be mad at me, but whatever. I don't care. He's just like one of those guys. He's just so intense. He's like he's constantly learning. He's constantly doing work. He's like he was like going to school and doing this sort of like internship at the same time. He picked up like the software so quickly. And he would be up like 48 hours in a row, like learning it, and then he's got it. Yeah. And he's like, he just gets stuff really fast. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know. Like, you function on another, like, so it reminded me a little of that.
If I can watch someone else do it, I can do it. Yeah, but like, if I'm reading the steps, I'm not.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Best, but if I can watch someone do it, I've got it. I can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, our engineer, like, I don't know. I'm not just saying this just to say it, but he is actually really fast. And like every industry professional or artist that comes in is like, dude, this guy, like, he can use one hand. He can, he can be chatting to you, and he can be recording. Yeah. And he can be recording, like, Cheap Heat in the other room.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like. With one hand. He's like this. You see him like...
Not with recording, but with the social media stuff that I believe it, I'm actually just like that. Like, just on Friday, I literally... And work, I'm sorry for saying this, but, like, for the first, like, 2 hours, my brain was just not working. I couldn't do anything. I only did, like, 2-3 accounts, maybe, which is really bad.
For 2 hours? Okay.
Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah, because I made it super efficient. So it's like,
how many do you normally do in like an hour?
I don't know. I don't try to on a daily basis.
But 2 or 3 is like that's pretty bad.
It was bad. Yeah, and it was like 10 o'clock, and I'd only done like 2 or 3, and I was like, I feel like I haven't done anything like all day long, and like my brain's not working. Yeah. I go get some food. I come back, and by the end of the day, I did like 16. Wow. And it's like, I don't know why. Like, and I was sitting there and I had a full conversation with the other person in the office, like a deep conversation about how they they were talking about like their political aspirations and like different details within like what their stance was. We talked about a video game concept. I have this idea. I can't make it myself, but if I ever make enough money to pay someone to do it, basically I'm gonna make a video game where you travel throughout time to like fight these different points of history, and then you come back to the modern day, and it's an MMO where the world changes based on what people have done. So like, let's say there's a mission to go back and kill Hitler, right? And there's 1,000 people playing it, which is a small number, but like let's just use it for easy like math, And 1,000 people go and they play that kill Hitler mission, right? And 600 of them decide not to kill Hitler, but to just let the events play out as they happened in history for real, and they just observe it. And then the other 400 decide they actually want to change it in some way, and they do something to influence it. When you come back to your history, it's still going to look like regular modern day, because the majority of people went back and they kept it the same. So you'll have these little points throughout history, and you'll have these faction cities.
So you're saying it's like, it's worldwide though, like lots of people can do it.
Exactly, yeah.
I just wonder how is that just sounds like such a huge and the amount of data it would have to take in. And
oh no, it would be like Skyrim. I have it in my head all mapped out. It would, or more like ESO, like Elder Scrolls Online, like how they have the elaborate big worlds. Basically, it would be like instanced content. You know, like you said, you play MMOs a lot, so like, you know, about instanced content. Basically, you would have your main world, which is like, let's just say for sake of argument, let's say it's America, right? And you have like New York and Los Angeles and Chicago and like all the big cities, right?
Yeah.
Let's say every one of those cities is like a faction and like, you know, a clan or something like that.
Right.
And you have to go and you pick one and you join it. And one of the cool things would be is that city is actually adaptive. So like you would have your skills, like let's say you go back and you only do diplomacy missions, right? So you have really high diplomacy stuff. And I go back and I only do military missions. So like my fighting skills are like super high because I go back and I just do fighting skills, right?
Yeah.
So individually, I'm a fighter, you're a diplomat, right? And then whenever we join the same faction, the faction will have the average skill points of all the people that are joining. So it'll have a high diplomacy and military. Mm-hmm. So your city will represent the stats that you have. So like if you were military and I was military, it would probably look something like Sparta, where it's just military everywhere, right? Or even if it was just diplomacy, maybe it's like Athens and it's just like senators or whatever. You know, it's like it would represent the combination of the people that joined it. It would actually show like the kind of people, you know, like.
Interesting.
And so that would insinuate it's like, oh, if you want to have a place to go and get food for like the survival part of the game, then you have to have people that train cooking. Because if you don't have any cooking skills, then there's no people that can. You can't have a restaurant if no one knows how to cook.
Right.
So someone's got to get cooking skills so that the city can have a place to eat, which you have to have for a survival tactic. Otherwise, you got to go out in the world and like find food and figure it out for yourself.
Yeah. Or you do everything. You do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have enough people.
Yeah. But then if you go out and you figure it out for yourself, that would be leveling up your cooking. And then when you came back, you would have a cooking skill, which would give your city a cooking skill. So then you would have some crappy little restaurant place outside of your city where you could go to and get some food. And like spend your money and whatever. Right. And the whole thing would be like a time war. So like you go back in time to these key points and you experience it and you like change it. You know. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you would either like go and it would probably be where you go and you change it because that makes more sense. You know, and it'd play out more logistically. Or you would go back and you would become the people and
that were there.
And that and like can you imagine if you woke up in Hitler's body? Like what do? You kill yourself? Do you like tear down what he's built? Do you try to convince people that you're not him anymore? Like, what do you do?
I wouldn't even know. Like,
you know, like that's an interesting concept.
Do you inherit all his thoughts though, or
no? You're you.
You're you. His body,
and you wake up and you're him. Like 5 years into the war or whatever. And it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean
you know,
you knew you were him, and you know the right thing.
It's like, but at the same time, you know, it's like it's interesting the different paths because if you killed yourself, maybe the twist is that you kill yourself, but they interpret it and see it and think that someone killed Hitler, so it makes the war worse because it's like, you know what I mean? Like it creates more fighting.
Right, because someone killed Hitler, and now someone's trying to get more power.
And so then there's this whole big thing, and then the war gets worse, right? So maybe that's not the best option. Maybe you have to play it out and play out the events the way they're supposed to happen. Yeah. Or maybe you go and you just completely like expose everything, and you say like, you know, whatever, take me to jail, like I confess to whatever, like, and you follow that path and see how that changes the world. And then whenever you're done with that storyline, you would like shift back into your normal self, which would be like in present day. And if enough people chose that path to change things, then when you came back to present day after the instance was over for that period of time the instance was running, when you came back and the instance was over, the world would look different. And it would represent the changes.
Right, very specific instances in history, and you're seeing changes.
So ultimately you have complete control over the world that you're living in because you can go back and change anything. But you have to be selective because, you know, there are consequences to every action. You may not necessarily know what the consequence of your action is.
Right.
It's an interesting concept. Like we talked through this whole thing in like an hour. Like, that's how fast, like, my brain is just like, oh yeah, creative concept. Here we go. Let's talk through this whole game idea.
Yeah.
It's like, if somebody wants to make that a game, please go ahead. I'm not, like, I don't care, dude. I'm not trying to, like, make money off
it. You don't need any credit for it?
I want to play it.
You want to play it? Yeah.
Honestly, I just want to play that game.
There you go. Any game developers listening?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got your next golden ticket.
There you go, man. Like, I just want to play it.
To you.
I just want to play it because, like, dude, that would be so fun. That would be the best game ever.
Oh, it sounds like a really interesting one that I haven't heard of, so,
yeah.
You know.
So, what do you have to shout out? We've been going on here for a while, probably going to wrap it up here soon. What do you have on there that you want to shout out? Like, what projects you got you're working on, social media?
Absolutely. Shout outs, definitely the Chimerical Era.
Yeah.
Yay. I think they'll like that. Yeah, we're submitted to festivals. It's VR, it's steampunk, futuristic, to characters trying to get back like a piece of their weapon that was stolen from a bad guy. So yeah, that's my pitch. That's my shout out for them.
Nice.
And Tika Gorgonia brought me on that project, so maybe a shout out to him.
All right.
You know, let's see other shout outs. Adam Schoenberg, teacher who's like kind of pushed me towards doing scoring and music and trying to pursue it, which has been great. Thank you. My parents, obviously, who probably should have said first, but that's okay. Really do appreciate my Uncle Larry. He helps me out. He let me stay in his place while I was getting my stuff together, and you know, he brought me on into his office too. So he's done a ton, like, to help me be able to live in LA and, you know, be able to sort of pursue music at the same time as sort of a second job. And it's becoming more and more of a possibility as we move on and meet great, cool people.
Yeah.
See any other shout outs? I mean, those are the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right.
You know, my family and everyone, all my friends who have supported me through the hard times. Like, it's been great.
What are your social media tags, like, for Instagram, Twitter?
Yeah, so, for most of them, it's going to be like Alex Ellsworth Music.
And how do you spell that?
So Alex.
This will be in the description, but yeah.
Ellsworth is E-double-L, so ELLSWORTH. And then music at the end. I think for Twitter it might be A Ellsworth Music or something like that. Yeah. Slightly different.
What's
for that
your website again? Because all the links are on the bottom of your website.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's going to be the same tag. It's going to be alexellsworthmusic.com. So you'll be able to find it there. Yeah.
All right. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been great having you on.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a really nice conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting to know you.
Absolutely, dude. It's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week. Bye.
If you like this episode of the podcast, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share on whatever your listening choice of platform may be, whether that's YouTube, DTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, it doesn't matter. We're on all of them. Wherever you listen, be sure to give us a shout out. It really does help, and it helps us to reach people that we otherwise would never be able to see. Be sure to turn on the notifications so that you can get notified every single week when we upload a new episode on Wednesdays. Links to all the products that I use to make this content or anything that we talk about specifically in the episode, such as Alex's links, all of that information will be down in the description below. Also, if you want to find information on how you can help support this channel, all the Patreon information is down in the description as well. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye!